What if I told you that you could talk to your computer, not just Hi Siri or OK Google, actually give it complex instructions to automate your boring tasks, analyze massive amounts of data, or build a beautiful, stunning website, or complex backend API, or even build the next great artificial intelligence? Welcome. Python is one of the most popular language in the world for simple reasons. It is powerful enough to power Google search engine, yet it is simple enough a 10-year-old can learn it. I'm Faisal, full stack Python developer and instructor. Today I'm not just going to teach you how to write a Python code syntax. I'm going to teach you how to develop a programmer mindset. By the end of this course, you will have built your own applications and built a problem solving mindset that will stay with you for your rest of life. Let's get started. Before we write a single line of code, we need to understand what programming actually is. Imagine you are teaching a robot how to make a peanut butter sandwich. You can't just say make a sandwich. The robot doesn't know what bread is. You have to say open the cupboard, reach for the bread, take out two slices. After following the instructions, robot will make a peanut butter sandwich. In same way, programming language is a formal language with a set of instructions, rules, and syntax that allows humans to communicate with the computers, telling them to perform specific tasks like creating apps, websites, or automating processes. Programming languages act as a bridge, translating human readable commands into the binary code that a computer's hardware can directly understand and execute using tools like compilers or interpreters. In short, programming is exactly a sequence of specific instructions given to a computer to perform a task. The computer is actually quite dumb. It only does exactly what you tell it, but it is incredibly fast. Our job as programmers is to be the translators between human ideas and computer actions. We use different programming languages as translators. For example, we will use Python, Java, JavaScript, or any other language. In this course, we are going to use Python and understand what is syntax of Python and how it works. Python is a high-level language which feels like reading simple English. This pseudocode nature is easy to learn and understandable by beginners. It is an open source language with vast ecosystem of libraries and large active community. Unlike other languages that require you to manage computer memory or write complex boilerplate, Python handles the heavy lifting in the background. It uses an interpreter. Think of an interpreter like a live translator at the UN. As you type code, the interpreter reads it line by line and executes it immediately. It is used for data analysis, machine learning, web development, automation, scripting, software development, testing, performing everyday tasks, and scientific and numeric computing. You can write any sort of code or any type of software using Python, and it is very easy for beginners to learn and adapt. Python's adaptability and comprehensive library support are why major companies such as Google, Netflix, Instagram, and NASA use it extensively for a variety of critical operations. So far, we understand what is programming and what is Python. Now, let's jump into our chapter 1, which is about Python basics and syntax. And time to set up your workshop. We need two things: the Python language itself and a place to write it. Go to python.org, click downloads and install the Python using installer. Just make sure when you run the installer, check the box that says add Python to path. If you don't do this, your computer won't know where Python lives. We use a code editor. It's like Microsoft Word, but for programmers. VS Code is the industry standard. Download and install it. If you feel stuck or face any problem while setting up the environment, I have made a video about this in detail. The link is in the description. You can go watch and follow along step by step and set up your environment. Write our first Python program. Open VS Code and let's create our first Python file. We will name it hello.py. .py is the extension of our Python file. We will write our first Python program and let's print hello. To print hello, we will use built-in function print. So print brackets, comma, colons, and we will write hello world. So this is our first Python program. To run or execute this, we will go to terminal, open terminal, whatever you want. I am using git bash. If you want to use git bash on Windows, I have made a tutorial. The link is in the description. You can install it on Windows and use it. So we write Python hello.py. Just make sure to spell it right and also make sure to you should be in the same directory as your file is located. So it's printed hello world. So congratulations, we have written our first Python program. So there are some rules to in Python. As you can see, we don't need to end semicolon or any symbol to tell Python that line ends here, but we can just simply write and hit enter, and on next line we write our next statement. But Python is case sensitive. In Python, small print p and large capital P, there is a difference. So if we write suppose print a small capital P and write hello, it will throw error. But we just need to make sure the print is small, and also the spaces do matter. The spaces before the prints. Let's suppose we use tab to tell the Python interpreter that new block belongs to another. We will focus and understand it in next upcoming videos. So here print and print is not equal to. Let's suppose if we go to terminal and run now Python hello.py, it should throw error. As you can see, first it printed hello world and then main print is not defined. Did you mean print? So it is also showing us that you just misspelled and your print should be like this print. So here you can see one more thing. The Python interpreter executes line by line. First it executed our first line hello world, but next line hello, it sees an error, so it throws error. In other languages where it first compile and then execute there, so execute, the program will not print anything. But in Python it is fast. This approach of Python interpreter makes it work quickly. So to write comments in Python, we have two options. We use this symbol and write whatever comment we want to. Comments are really nice thing to describe our program, what it is doing and how it is doing. So let's suppose this is our first comment. This is single line comment. There are two ways to write comments, single line and double line. Multi-line comments we write by using triple commas, colons. So in this way, this is our multi-line comment. So comment does not print on terminal, but these are just for reference. If someone else read your code or try to understand your code, it will just tells that what the code block is doing. As you can see, it is just printing hello world. It is not printing comments because comments are not printed on the terminal, or these are just for reference or to describe what our program or function or anything our code is doing. So it is good practice to write comments. A module is a file containing code which can be written by someone else. We can import it and use it in our program. There are two types of module, built-in modules and external modules. Built-in modules are pre-installed and comes with the Python. The examples of built-in modules are OS, random, date and type, math. We don't need to install built-in modules to use in our program. We just directly whenever we need to perform related tasks, we import them in our program and use them. External modules are the modules that are written by someone else and available on internet. We install them on our system and use them in our program to perform a specific task related to that module. The examples of external modules are Flask, Django, TensorFlow, and many other available online. To install the module on our system, we need a package manager. Here comes pip. Pip is built-in package manager comes with Python. We use pip to install external modules on our system. So to use pip, we write pip install module name on terminal and execute it automatically install that module on our system, so we can use that external module to perform a specific task related to that module. For chapter 1, your challenge set is first challenge is write a program to print Twinkle Twinkle Little Star poem in Python. The second challenge for you is try to print a triangle shape made of stars using three different print statements. Now let's move to chapter 2 and understand what is Python variable and what are data types and how it is written in Python. Think of a variable as a storage box. You put a value inside the box and give the box a name so you can find it later. So a variable is the name given to a memory location in the program. So let's open VS Code, create and close this file first, and we will are going to create our new file. Name it variable.py. .py is the extension of the file. So how we can write variable in Python and how we define what are the data type of that variable. We don't need to mention type in Python. We just type it a is equal to hello, and it automatically understands what is variable. Variables can store any type of data. Suppose this is string variable, and now we want to store integer value. So we just write b and write 24. There are another type. Suppose we write c is equal to 24.5. It is a float type variable. And let's suppose we have another data type in Python, that is Boolean. So we can write true and z is equal to true. So it works like this. We just, as compared to other languages, we don't need to mention a string, int, float, Boolean, or any data type to tell interpreter that what data type is. In Python, it automatically detects that data type. Let's suppose we print A. In next line, we are going to print B, and next we are going to print C, and same as we are going to print Z, our Boolean data type. And let's open our terminal. And now we are going to execute our next program. So we write Python variable dot py, and what it is going to print hello 24.5 true. So we just define a variable by giving it name and assign it value. There are some set of rules to write a variable. Let's suppose a variable name can contain anything, like suppose we can include number or any number or alphabet, underscore. These three things can include in the variable name. But just make sure one thing: a variable name only start from underscore. Like for example, name is equal to Faisal, and it can be written like Faisal, or you can say A, B, C, 1, or that is equal to suppose 12. But the variable name cannot have spaces like A space B space B space space B is equal to 4. This will throw error. As you can see, it is showing error. That variable name cannot be like this. Just make sure to follow these rules. These are some basic simple rules to define variables. So if we want to find the type of the variable, that what type is of A or B, we can use type function. Let's suppose, first just let's comment it out. So comment this and this also and this line also. Now let's suppose we want to find out the type of A. We can just use print type. Type is a built-in function and we just write A. It will tell us the type of A. Let's go to terminal, check what it is going to display. Let's suppose Python variable.py and hit enter. And let's see, as you can see, it is displaying class str. Same in like this, we can check any variable type and it will show the type of that variable. Print type functions and built-in function. Just make sure to close the parenthesis. Let's suppose we want to check the type of that variable C, and let's go to terminal and see what it is going to display. Python variable.py, hit enter. Now as you can see, it is showing float. In the same way, it will show you integer for variable B and boolean for variable Z. So this is how we define the type. So let's first comment this out and move on to our next topic. If we want to get value from the user, we use input. So let's suppose we use a variable num to store that value which comes from the user, and we write input, enter your name, and let's see how it stores that value and how it works. Now let's open the terminal and Python variable.py, hit enter. As you can see, he is asking for name. Enter your name. Let's suppose I enter Faisal, and so here you go. And it doesn't display anything and it doesn't show any error. It means our program executes fine. No error means everything is okay. So we have a variable name num, enter your name, and let's suppose we also want to just rename it to name, NAME, and now let's move to next line, and also we want to get the age of your name. Let's suppose we want to write input. Just make sure write this and enter your age, and let's see. And we also want to print the name and of age whatever user enters. So we can print, just use that variable print name and print age. So now let's go to terminal and execute this our program. So let's first clear. Using clear command, hit enter, and it will clear our terminal. So now we execute our program, Python variable.py, and hit enter. He is asking for our name. So name is Faisal. Enter age, enter is equal to 25. And as you can see, it is showing Faisal and 25. But one more thing here. Python automatically assigns our variable type string, whether we enter int or whatever you want. Let's suppose we want to show what type it has assigned to the age. We use print type and pass the variable age. And now let's go to terminal and now run our program, Python variable.py, enter your name, and name is Faisal, age 25, print enter. Now as you can see, it is showing class str. It automatically assigns whether we input float or integer or string, whatever we give him input. Interpreter automatically assigns that to str, but we can convert that to integer by just simple one thing, by using the int method. Let's suppose we write this way: input and close that with brackets. It is not show error. Now this int function will automatically convert the str to integer. But keep in mind one thing. It only convert which is possible to convert. If it doesn't possible to convert, let's suppose we enter the string, we try to convert string to integer, it will throw error. So we are now, if we now run our program, Python variable dot py, it enter your name, Faisal, age is equal to 25, and now let's see. As you can see, now age 25 and class int. Previously it is showing class str. Now because it is showing, why it is showing int? Because we have converted that to int. So we can convert same like that, whatever we want to do. That concept is called typecasting. So far in this chapter, we have learned how to write a variable, what are the rules for variable name, and what is type and how typecasting works. Now let's move to next chapter. The challenge for chapter 2 is, the first challenge is check the type of variable assigned using input function. The second is create a variable for a movie title, its release year and its rating. Print them in a single sentence. Our next chapter is about operators and conditions. We have different operators like arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, and logical operators. What arithmetic operators do? They are used for mathematical operations like plus, minus, multiplication, division, module, remainder, like this. Assignment operators are the like assignment operators. We assign value from value to variable, or one value of one variable to another variable, or we perform any action like addition or subtraction. So we will check this and do this in detail. Let's open our VS Code and let's see how assignment operators work. Now let's close this file and create our new file that will be, name it operators. operators.py. .py is the value of extension of our Python file. Let's suppose we write a is equal to 23 and b is equal to 10. So how arithmetic works? Let's suppose we want to add these both numbers. So we write sum a plus b, and what it will show, it will give us the sum of our two numbers. Let's suppose print that sum, and let's go to our terminal and first clear this output, clear this, and now we will try to run our program. So we write Python. Just make sure you should be in same directory where the file is located, operators.py, and also make sure to name it correctly. If you misspell, it will throw error and don't understand what you are trying to achieve. So Python operators.py, it is written 33 because the sum of our numbers is 10 plus 23. 3 is equal to 33. In the same way, we can subtract numbers, or let's say we directly print the subtraction of a minus b. This will print the subtraction value of this a minus b. Let's suppose Python operators.py, hit enter 33 and 13. 33 is the sum of a and b. 13 is the subtraction value of a and b. In the same way, we can use other operators like division, multiplication in the same way. So this is comparison. This is assignment operator. 10 value is assigning to b variable. So we can also, let's suppose we want to add b is equal to b plus 5. We can write this in same way and easy way. Let's suppose we can write this using our assignment operator, it plus or 5. These both will value same. Just make sure to indent our Python program in right way. If we don't use spaces in right way, it will throw error and don't understand what we are trying to write.
So these both values are equal and will perform simple same task. Now let's now try to run our program. Let's first comment this out, this sum, comment this and this print also and this print also. And now let's try to print now sum of A. Let's print the print B. Now currently value of B is 10. It will increment it 5 and it should print 15. So let's Python operators dot py, hit enter. As you can see, it has printed 15 because we use this assignment operator to increment 5 to previous value of our variable. In the same way, we can use comparison operators and logical operators. Now we will check the examples of these operators in a minute. So first let's understand if else, and then we will use comparison operators and conditional operators to implement. So sometimes we want to play some game on our phone. Sometimes we order ice cream online if the day is sunny. Sometimes we go hiking if our parents allow. These are conditional things. All these decisions which depend on a condition being met. If condition is true, it perform one task. If not true, it perform other tasks. In Python programming too, we must be able to execute instructions on base of conditions being met. Here if-else statements come, and if-else and elif statements are a multi-way decision taken by our program due to certain conditions in our code. Conditional statements allow our code to take different paths based on data. So let's open VS Code, close this file and create new file. Let's name it conditions.py and let's write our first Python conditional if-else statement. Let's pause. If write our program A is equal to 5 and write B is equal to 10 and check it like this. If A greater than B, we write this, make sure to write colon and hit enter. Now we print A is greater, spell it right, greater than B. So if the condition is true, then it will print this and we'll write else part. If now else colon hit enter, the next line print and B is greater than A. So now as you can see, this is the syntax of our if else simple statement. Our statement end with the colon else also, and we indent it using tab spaces. So we indent, we don't use curly brackets or other things like in other programming languages, but we use spaces to tell Python interpreter that what it is going to do. So now let's go to our terminal and run this Python code. So Python dot conditions, just make sure to our, I think I misspelled while naming, but let's use the same name, conditions.py, hit enter, B is greater than A, because this condition, our first condition doesn't met, because A is small, but B it displays this. Now let's suppose we enter another block, elif. Now let's check if A is equal to B. And if A is equal to B, then run this statement. We can have, this is just a simple example. If we can write whatever code we want, A is equal to B. So now let's change our B value to 5. And now if we run, it should exclude if and else part and execute elif. So now let's go to terminal and run this Python conditions.py and hit enter. As you can see, A is equal to B. In this way, we are right. We can chain multiple elifs in Python, and It will check for condition if A greater than B or elif A double equal to B, or it will execute on the basis of condition. We can just, if we want, we can ignore these braces and we can write this in this way too. It will not throw error and it will work in same. Python is very easy and easy to to understand language. Now let's go to terminal and hit enter. It should, as you can see, it is also displaying the same result because it is, Python is more like an English. We write and the syntax of Python is very simple and easy to understand and easy to execute. So in this same way, we can use not, or, and operators in Python also. We will use that in our mini project which we are going to do in the end of this video.
The challenge set for chapter 3 is, the first challenge is, write a program to find the greatest of four numbers entered by the user. The second problem set is, build a loan eligibility checker. To get a loan, a person needs a high income over $50,000 and good credit. However, if they have a criminal record, they are automatically disqualified. Use variables has high income, has good credit, and has criminal record.
So our next chapter is about loops in Python. In programming, we hate repeating ourselves. Let's suppose if I ask you to print, I will not talk in class 100 times. You wouldn't want to write 100 times lines of code. That's where loops come in. That allow us to execute a block of code multiple times automatically. Primarily, there are two types of loops in Python: while loop or for loop. Now let's open our VS Code and discuss while loop. First, close this file and we are going to create our new file. Name it lops loops.py. Hit enter. So we want to first execute or understand how while loop works, or how it executes and how it helps us to do things. Let's suppose I is equal to 1 and we want to write counting from 1 to 10. So let's suppose we write a condition I less than 11 colon, hit enter, print I, and we also need to increment in I. If we don't increment, it will infinitely run and our program will crash. So now let's go to terminal and first clear our terminal, and now type Python loops, just spell it right, loops loops.py and loops.py and hit enter. It should print, as you can see, it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as our program works as we wanted. So while loop is like until this condition is met, it will keep executing and it will keep working like this. Now let's comment this out and understand how we will use multi-line comments to comment this out. So as you can see, now let's understand how our for loop works. So to for loop works, we write like this: for I in range 0 to 10. Now let's see what it is going to print: colon and print I. And first run this and then I will explain how it works. So we write Python loops.py, hit enter. So as you can see, it printed from 0 to 9. Why it printed until 9? But here is a range function. Range function we use to define the range, how much value. It starts from 0 to 10, but it excludes the mentioned value. It will execute until 9. So first it automatically iterate through, we don't need to write I plus 1 in for loop. It is very useful, and for loop most commonly used in Python. It is used to iterate through strings or lists. We will use this for loop when we do mini project in the end of, before ending this video. So first, let's comment this out and understand how continue works or how break works. First, we will understand how break works. Let's suppose we write for in range 0 to 80. It will print 0 to 79. So if we want, let's suppose we write a condition. If I double equal to 4, it should not continue and end here. So let's suppose we write print I, and we go to our terminal and execute this program. First, let's clear this and write Python loops.py and hit enter. So it just printed 0, 1, 2, 3, y. Here the break come. Let's suppose we have written if I double equal to 4, break. Here break how works. Whenever this condition met, it will terminate the loop and don't execute next line or next iterations in the loop. So whenever we have in real life or in real projects, we want a condition where we don't want to execute further whenever the condition is met. So first, let's comment this out and understand how continue works and how continue helps, or what is the use of continue in Python. So we write a for I range, let's suppose we range it 0 to 10, colon, hit enter. So hit enter, and now let's suppose we write if statement. If I is double equal to 4, colon, hit enter, continue, and we will print, let's suppose print I, and it is showing error because we doesn't specify in here. This is the beauty of VS Code, and we use Python extension. It automatically highlights whenever we make a mistake. In this here, if I double equal to 4, it should skip and move to next iteration. And now let's go to terminal and type Python loops.py, hit enter. As you can see, we write 0 to 10. It 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. It skipped 4. It skipped 4, but it keep continuing and executed next iteration. That is the difference between break and continue. Continue just skip that iteration and skip the lines of code which comes after this and move to next iteration. But break terminates the loop and moves to next line of code after the loop. So first, let's comment this out and understand another concept in Python, that is pass. Let's suppose we have a if statement. If a double equal to 7, but we yet doesn't have decided what we should do right here or what our code is means. Python doesn't allow us to write or and skip this without doing anything. But if we write pass or use pass keyword, it will not show any error, but it will just understand that we will write this line of code later on. So so far we have what we have covered in this chapter. We understand how while loop works, how for loop works, what is range and how it is used in for loop, and how break, continue, and pass works. Now let's move on to next.
The challenge set for the chapter 4 is, the first problem set is, write a program to print multiplication table of a given number using for loop. The problem set 2 is write a program to find the sum of first n natural numbers using while loop.
So our next chapter is about strings and built-in methods in Python, which we can operate or apply on strings in Python code. String is a data type in Python. String is a sequence of characters enclosed in codes. Strings are used for storing text or character. We can manipulate them in powerful ways. We can simply write string in three ways. We can write in single quote, double quote, or triple quote. In whatever we way, write, it doesn't matter. It considers Python insane. So now let's go to VS Code, close this file, and we create new file. Let's name it strings.py. So how we can write string? We can write, let's put variable name is equal to single quote Hassel. And also we can write name 2 is equal to double quote or Faisal. These both are same and both works in same way. Let's suppose we just to demonstrate how it works. We print name and print name 2. These both should print Faisal one by one. So now let's go to terminal. Let's first clear this out to make it look nice. So we will execute this program Python strings.py. Hit enter, Faisal. These both are same. So it means either we use single quote, double quote, or triple quote. It doesn't matter. We can use whatever we want or how we feel comfortable. So let's comment this out and find out what are functions and operations we can perform on string. So first of all, the most important or most of the time we will use this. If we want to find the length of the variable string or how many characters are in string, we use length function. So let's write print len brackets and write name colon. We pass the string variable to length function and it will return us the value or the length of the string. So let's go to terminal, type Python strings.py, hit enter 6. It is return 6. Why it return 6? Because the length of the string is 6. So what we next to do, let's suppose we want to find there is a huge string and we want to find a string which ends with al. So let's suppose we print write it name dot ends with and commas and we suppose write al. It will return that whether our string that on which we are applying this end with function, whether it's ends with al or not. So let's go to terminal and run Python strings.py and see what it prints. It prints true. It returns true or false. Let's suppose if we have a string that doesn't end with, let's suppose we say ala. Our string doesn't end with this. It should now return false. Let's go to terminal Python strings.py, hit enter, and now it will return false. Because our string doesn't end with. If we want to just make sure or compare two strings or check whether this string ends with our specified string or number of characters or not, we can check this with end dot with function. It is built-in function in Python. Let's comment this out and try our next function. So let's suppose if we want to calculate how many A's are in our string. So how we can do this? We can do this by writing this. Let's print name dot count brackets or A. Now it should count A characters in our string and return that number to us. We can use, let's go to terminal and see, write Python strings.py, hit enter. It returns 2. Why to return 2? Because there are 2 times a in string vessel. So in this way we can use this count function. So first let's comment this out, and our next function is find is. We can use find to whether check that word or that number of characters is existed in our string or not. To find that, we write this. Let's suppose print name dot find, and we will give the string or number of characters here to check whether these are available in string or not. Let's suppose we say SA. It should and find SA in our name string, and let's run this code and check. Let's first clear this out to make it look nice and clean. So we'll run this python strings.py, hit enter. It return 3. Why it return 3? Because the index of that characters where it is located, that is 3. So let's check. F is 0, A is 1, I is equal to 2, and 3 is S. So it checks and returns us the index of that characters or set of characters which we want to find in the string. It will be very helpful when we write long codes or we want to check whether or these strings available in our string large string or not. So let's comment this out and next move to our next function. That is a replace. That is also a built-in function in string. What it will do? It will find the specified character and replace with the value we provided. So we write it this in way, name dot replace. Just spell it correct. REPLACE, replace, or we will first give the old value where we want to replace. Let's suppose we want to replace AL in our string with what is the new string which we want to replace. So let's suppose we can say ED. So it will find AL and replace that and return the new string. So let's go to terminal and run this python strings.py, hit enter, and as you can see it replaced AL with ED. It return FAISED. So these are some basic functions which we can perform on string. There are many more, but most commonly length and with the count, find or replace, these we use. We can, if you want to know all functions, built-in functions in Python, I can reference the docs of Python so you can find more. But most commonly we use these. A string in Python can be sliced for getting part of the string. Now let's go to our terminal, our VS Code, and see what it means and how we can access if specific word or index of the string. Let's comment this out and move to next line. And let's suppose we want to just print the name brackets. Let's suppose we just want to print the location 4 value. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It should print A. So now let's go to our terminal python strings.py, hit enter, hit print A. In this way we can access our string any part or any part if we want to display. So now let's suppose if we want to, we can write it in this way and slice our string. Let's suppose we say colon 2 and now print this and let's see what it displays. It displayed FA. What means FA? It printed the first 2 characters because we specify until to print or return all characters. If let's suppose we write it here 2 and 4. Now let's say what it prints. Python strings.py, hit enter. It returns is. Why it returns is? Because it will start from 2 and x, and before 4 it will end. So it will return 2 and 3. At 2 we have I, and at 3 we have s. So in this way we can index or slice strings.
The problem set for chapter 5 is, the first problem set is, write a Python program to display a user entered name followed by good afternoon using input function. The problem set number 2 is, write a palindrome checker. A palindrome is a word that reads the same backward, like radar. Ask the user for a word and tell them if it's a palindrome or not.
So our chapter 6 is about list, tuple, set, and dictionary. So first let's discuss what are lists. Lists are just like dynamic sized arrays. Lists need to be homogeneous always, which makes it the most powerful tool in Python. Lists are great for holding collections of data, whether all of the same type like all integer or all strings or all floats, or mixed types like we can store integers, strings or floats or booleans in same list. You can add, remove, update elements easily. So let's open our VS Code and let's understand and find out how we can write a list and how which operations we can perform on it. First, let's close the strings.py and create new file list.py. Hit enter. The file is created. So first, let's first write our first list in Python. Let's write a list to name fruits is equal to first fruit name is suppose apple, and then we create list by separating that with the commas. So second could be banana or whatever you want, or orange. We can write as many fruits or as many elements or values in list as we want. The list can also be like number is equal to, let's suppose, write 3, 6, 8, 4, and as many numbers separated by comma as you want. List can be mix of string or numbers or float. Let's suppose we write a mixed string. We can write that in this way. Let's suppose we write 5, 6, 3.5. Then we write a name, Faisal, and then let's suppose we write another value. Let's suppose we write 7. In the same way, we can write list as we want. We can include string, integers, or whatever we want to display. Let's suppose we now want to, let's print fruits, and let's print number NUM, hit enter, PRINT, brackets, MIXED, mixed. And now let's go to terminal and see what it returns. So Python list.py, hit enter and see. Our first list, second, third, all printed nicely and there is no error. So now let's go and understand what operations we can perform on the list. We can use, first let's comment these fruits and the mixed. So we can sort it using the simple sort function. Let's suppose num.sort and hit enter. Now if we now print num, it should return sorted. Now currently we don't have 3, 6, 8, 4. It should be like 3, 4, 6, 8. Now let's go to terminal and enter Python list.py, hit enter. As you can see, first it printed the list 3, 6, 8, 4. Then it printed 3, 4, 6, 8. We have printed these both lists. So we can just print or sort the list whatever we want. We can also sort the variable list. Let's suppose apple, banana, orange. It is already sorted, but if we can sort the strings list by their first letter. So first let's comment this num dot sort and hit enter, move to next line, and let's perform our next function. Num dot reverse. What it will do? It will just reverse our list. The last element will come to first and first element will come to the last. So now let's go to terminal, enter python lists.py, hit enter, and as you can see, first list is 3684, second is 486, it is reverse. We can reverse a list by using the reverse method, built-in method which comes with Python. Let's comment this out and let's go to our next function, which is let's suppose we want to add a value at the end or add new value to our existing list. Let's suppose we want to num dot, we use append brackets. Let's suppose we want to enter 9, add 9. Now let's go to terminal and see what it returns. Python list.py. So it added 9 at the end of the list. So we can add a new value to our list by using the append function. So now let's comment this out and check what we can do next. We can remove the last number or last value by using the pop function. Let's suppose we write num dot pop, pop brackets. So it will remove the last element of the list and returns that list. So first let's clear this out, clear, hit enter. So write python list.py, hit enter. So as you can see, it will remove the last element and return the updated list, printed that list 368. So let's comment this out. And our next function which comes built in, which if we want to, let's suppose enter, or let's suppose we want to remove a specific number from the list. How we can do it? Let's suppose num dot remove bracket. Let's suppose we want to remove 8 and we just enter the 8. Now it should return 3, 6 and 4. It should remove 4. So let's go to terminal, python lists.py, hit enter. So as you can see, our first list is 3684. It removed the 8 from our list and returned or updated the list to 364. So these are some basic functions we can use in Python to operate or implement different functionality on our lists. That is where Python is very powerful. It comes with great and too many the regular functions. We don't need to write the logic from base. We just add new things, or we can use just the Python built-in functionality to write code very quickly and very efficiently. So the next thing is tuple. A tuple is a collection of Python objects separated by commas. In some ways, a tuple is similar to a list in terms of indexing, nested objects, and repetition. But a tuple is immutable. Like we can add or change it to list, but unlike lists that are mutable, but tuples are used when data should not be changed, such as coordinates or constants. So let's open VS Code. Let's close this file and create a new file. Name it tuples.py, hit enter, and let's create our first tuple. We write tuple in this way. Let's suppose we write it 4 and 5. We cannot change or append value to tuple, but these are very important when we want to, suppose we want to store the coordinates which we will not change in tuple in our program. So what we can do with tuple? So print, let's suppose we print tuple, and there are many built-in functions come with the tuple. So first of all, we can write. Now let's suppose we want to find out how many times a specific number occur in a tuple. We can find this. Let's suppose we write print a dot count. Count functions comes to count the number of times a value occurred in a tuple. So let's suppose enter 4 and check whether go to terminal and see what it prints. So Python tuples tuples dot py, hit enter. So as you can see, it first printed the tuple 4 and 5, and then it returned 1 because there is one time a 4 occurred. Let's suppose if there is a 4 multiple times, and now let's see what it returns. Now it should return 3 as there is 4 times 3. Let's go to terminal Python tuples.py, hit enter. So now it returns 3. So count function returns the number of times the value occurred in tuple. So let's comment this out and see our next function, that is index. It returns the first occurrence of that value of which is in a tuple, and it returns its index. So how it returns index and how we write it: print a dot index. Just spell it right, index. Let's suppose we want to find the index of 6. Whenever 6 or first occurrence of 6, it returns the index value of that. So now let's go to terminal, type Python tuples.py, hit enter. So it returns 4 because at 4 the tuple 6 value 6 is located. 0 at 0 located, 4 at 1 5, at 2 4, at 3 5, at 4 6 is located. So it returns that index value. There are many more functions, built-in functions about tuples, but most commonly we use index and count for tuples. So let's move on to our next and see what is our next. Next is set. A set is an unordered collection of unique elements. It is mutable, meaning you can add or remove elements, and it supports mathematical operations like union, intersection, and difference. If you are programming beginner without much knowledge of mathematical operations on set, you can simply look at sets in Python as data types containing unique values. So let's open VS Code and see how set works. First, close these 5 tuples and create new file. Name it sets.pysets.py, and let's write our first set. So we can write sets like this: as variable name is equal to set, and then we add values or we can perform different operations. So first we have to define what is set. So let's suppose s is equal to set, and we want to add value to set. S dot add, let's suppose we want to add 5, and we also want to s dot want to add 10. So we added 2 values. Now let's see what is it updated or not. So to check this, we print s, and now let's go to terminal. First clear the clear, clear, press enter and type our Python sets.py, hit enter, and it returns 10 and 5. So it adds values to the set. So what operations we can perform on a set? We can perform multiple operations on set, like as we discussed, union, intersection, or difference. So let's first implement union section. Union section returns the new set with the values of both sets. Let's suppose how we can write union: print s dot union. We will pass the new set which we want to union. Let's suppose we say 4 and 8. It should print now the new set which is the union, or which contain values from both sets: 5, 10, 4, and 8. Let's open terminal, enter Python sets.py, hit enter. So as you can see, it return 8, 10, 4, and 5. It return the all values which are existed in both functions. So if we want to find the common values from 2 sets, so how we find the common values? First comment this out. Let's move to next line and print. Here comes the another function s dot intersection. So what intersection will do? We pass the new set and we will check whether it will just return the common values from both sets. Let's suppose we pass the set like 4, 7, 3 and 5. Only 5 is common in both sets, and now it should return only 5. So we go to terminal Python sets.py, hit enter. It returns the new set which is 5 because there is only 5 common in both sets. So these are we use these sets very rarely, but these are very useful when we want to perform different actions. We can check the length of set by using the length function as we apply that on list. So that is all for the sets. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is about dictionary. That is one of the most important topic and mostly used in Python. Dictionary is a collection of data values used to store data values like a map, which unlike other data types that hold only a single value as an element. Dictionaries store data in key value pairs. They are ideal for fast lookups and representing structured data. So let's see how we can write dictionary and what operations we can perform on dictionary. So let's open VS Code, close this file, and we will create a new file, name it dictionary, dictionary.py, hit enter. The file is created. Let's write our first file. Name it whatever you want to name it. Let's suppose we name it XY. We write dictionary in these braces brackets. We write in key pairs. Let's suppose this is the key and this is the value of the key. Name Faisal and separated by commas, hint enter. Let's suppose we want to also add a key of age, and age will be 25, comma, and let's suppose we write another marks, and this is the list dictionary of list of students. Let's suppose we said 34.67. As you can see, in lists, in dictionaries, we can store whatever value we want, but we store in key value pairs. We can store float, integer, strings, and whatever we want to do. Let's suppose we will first print this and see what it returns. Print xy. Xy is the name of our dictionary. Let's go to terminal and print, type pyth Python dictionary.py. Hit enter. As you can see, the return Faisal, name Faisal, age 25, marks. It return the key value pair. Now let's suppose we want to just we can access the value by using the key. Let's suppose we say print xy. We can print, and we suppose we want to just check the value of the key name. If we type this in way, it will just return the value of the key name in our dictionary. Let's go to terminal, type Python dictionary.py. As you can see, it first print and return our complete dictionary. Second, xy, point key name, return Faisal. So we can access the value of our dictionary by using the key in our function. So there are many other functions, like we can get the all keys and all values of our dictionary. Let's suppose we just comment this out, move to next line, write print and type our dictionary name xy dot keys. It should return the all keys of our function. Let's suppose go to terminal, type Python dictionary.py, hit enter. As you can see, it will return the dictionary keys, name, age, marks, and we can also update our dictionary in a simple way. Let's comment this out and change our age age 25 to another value, and we can just simply change that x, y, and key value of age, that will be equal to, let's suppose we change that to 30, and if we now print our dictionary, print x, y. Now let's go to terminal and see will it update or not. Let's first clear this out to make it look it nice. So Python dictionary.py, hit enter. So it will return our updated dictionary. We can update it and return change 25 to 30. So we can change the value of any key using this format, x, y, brackets, and mention that key and update that value.
The problem set for chapter 6 is, the first problem set is, write a program to input 8 numbers from the user and display all the unique numbers. The problem set 2 is, create an empty dictionary. Allow 4 friends to enter their favorite language as value and use key as their names. Assume that the names are unique. The problem set 3 is, write a program to accept marks of 6 students and display them in a sorted manner. The problem set 4 is, write a program to count the number of zeros and assume 7 length tuple yourself.
The next topic for today is functions and recursions. A functions is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. Think of it like a mini program. Inside your program, you define it once and call it whenever you need it. So let's open VS Code and write our first function. Functions are very important and mostly used, and it makes our code look nice, easy, readable, and reusable. So let's close dictionary.py, create our new file, name it functions.py, hit enter. We define our function using the define keyword. So let's suppose we define def function. We can name it function of whatever we want. So let's suppose we name it like ABC brackets colon, and we write whatever code. Let's suppose we just want to print hello. We just write the print statement with hello, and so we have defined our first simple function in Python. We call it by using the name of the function and by using the brackets. So we call this, and whenever we call the function, it executes the all code available in this function. Currently, we just have one line. We can have hundreds and thousands of lines in a function, and we call it wherever we need it. So let's go to terminal and see what it returns and what will it work or not. We write Python functions dot py, hit enter, it printed hello. So this is one simple function. So let's first comment this out. We can give value to a function and use that value to print anything. Let's suppose we write, and another time our function def abc, we get name colon, hit enter. So let's suppose we just now want to print the hello message with the name of the user we pass from our main code. So we do that name. So now we need to pass the name of a variable which is defined in our function or expecting that function. So we write Faisal. Now it should print hello Faisal. So let's go to terminal, Python functions.py, hit enter. It printed hello Faisal. So we can pass the value whatever we want to the function, and we can also get the return value. So let's comment this out, and suppose we want to get a return value. Suppose let's define our function, define ABC, whatever we name, we just want to suppose return. Now let's suppose we give it two numbers and return sum. So it gets A and B as a parameters or inputs, and it return A plus B. So this simple function returns the sum of two functions. The values we will pass in ABC while calling, let's suppose 5 and 6. It should return our value. So let's suppose we save this in our variable suppose a is equal to some whatever value it return, it will save this in, and let's suppose we print a and to check whether it work or not. So let's go to terminal, type Python functions.py 11. As you can see, it return 11 or printed 11. We can pass as many numbers or as many variables in our function by separating them by comma, and we return or get the value from the function if we want. So these are three basic simple examples of the function. There is one more important function or in Python, that is the recursive function. Let's first comment this out and understand what is a recursive function. A recursive function is very important and very difficult to understand. But when you understand recursive function, how it works, it makes your code very fast and easy to write. So a recursive function is a function that calls itself to solve a problem. It is commonly used in mathematical and divide and conquer problems. Always include a base case to avoid infinite recursion. Just keep in that mind. We just need to make sure to mention the base case. If we don't mention the base case, it do not return anything, and it just keep on calling, and a program will crash. So how we define or write a function that is recursive? Let's suppose we want to calculate the factorial of a number. What is factorial? Let's suppose we want to calculate the factorial of 5. That will be like 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. That is the factorial. And we can just simply calculate that using a simple few lines of code. So we define, it is just a simple function. As we discussed earlier, we get a number whichever of which we want to find the factorial. So our first base case is if n double equal to 0. So return. It is important, return 1. When value of n reach 1, 0, it will return 1. So our next else part is return n multiply, call it our function. That is a recursive function. A function calling itself and calculating the value. So what it to call whenever it just pass the -1 decrement value of n. So whenever it call itself, next value return, and when n reach 0, it will return 1 and multiply each other and return the factorial of our value. So let's suppose now call this our function. That will be factorial. So let's suppose we want to find the factorial of 5. So save this number in W. It will return the value of factorial and save that in W. And if we want to print or check whether what it return or whether it works or not, we print W. So now let's go to terminal and write and run our this code and find out whether it works or not. So Python functions.py, hit enter. It return 120. You can calculate the value, factorial value of 5 is 120. So in this way we write the factorial function. It is just a bit complex to understand, but when you understand how this recursive function works, it will make your life very easy.
For chapter 7 problem set, we have first problem set is write a Python function to print multiplication table of a given number. And problem set 2 is write a recursive function to calculate the sum of first and natural numbers.
So now let's create a mini project. The project is about student management system. So first create a file for our project. Let's name it as ms student management system.py and hit enter. Write a comment and tell what it is about. It is a student management system in which we can add a student, or we can view the available students, and we can search student by name, or we can calculate the average marks of the students added in our list. So we just name it students is equal to empty list for now. We will add the students using add method by adding from the input in terminal. So first of all, we want to print a menu. What it tells? It tells that whether you want to add new student, or you want to view students, or search student, or average marks, or you want to exit and end the process of this management system. So we will write by using our concepts so far we learned. So first of all, we write a while loop. What while loop will do? While loop will do that until it turns condition false. It will keep asking and keep repeating the menu. So what will be the menu? First of all, we write print. First item of our menu will be add student, but we write just a simple message, student management system. So it just display a print student management system. It will not do anything else. So second print will be about enter one to add student. So whenever one is entered, the student, he will ask for student details and student will be added. So in the second item of our menu is enter to view all students available in our database. So option 3 of our menu is search student by name. He will enter the name and can search a student like whatever we want to, its marks and other things. And the item 4 of our menu is calculate average marks of all the students available in our database. And the last option which we want to show is obviously we want to end our loop. If we don't end loop, it will be infinite loop. So enter 5 to exit or just end the record. So we will get the input. This is just a print statement. It print the message. So the choice, we will use the variable choice that will be just choice that is equal to input, and input, what it will be input, choose a number, choose a number from above values. So whatever the user selects, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will be stored in the variable choice. So now we have to decide and write a code that way whatever choice he selects, we execute that code, not all code. So we will break down this in functions. We will write for each task different function. For add student, we will write add student function. For view, we will write view, and for search, and so on. So we implement that using if choice double equal to 1. So what he will do? He will call the function add underscore student. We will define that function later. Just wait a minute. So we call the function add student. Nothing else will be done. So if what will be our second choice? If let's write it correctly, choice is double equal to, it checks. Suppose if it is 2, what it will do? It will display all students. We will write the functions to display student, view students, and hit enter. Our third condition is, let's suppose it entered 3. What he will do? Choice double equal to 3. So now he will search students. So for search, we will define a function search student. Call that function now. We will define that function later. Just wait a minute. So our next is elif is if choice. Oh, I just spelled that wrong. Just make sure to write correct spell. So choice is 4. What it will do? It will calculate the average marks. We will write that function. We just are just calling that function now, but we will write that one by one later. So average marks. Just make sure to write correct. So next L if is choice is just I miss typing error choice is equal to 5. Let's suppose it entered 5. Now what he will do? He will first print the message. What will be the message? Buy. And then it break. What break will do? Break will end the while loop and end the while loop and exit the code. If we don't end here, it will just keep repeating and always keep our while loop true. So our last end condition is else. If nothing happens of if user selects like let's suppose user select 8 or any other number. So what he will do? He will print a message. What will be the message? Message is wrong choice. You have to select one of the choices given to you. If you don't select that choice, he will just keep asking you again and again in infinite loop until you select one of these options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you don't enter this, now let's pause and run this code and see is it asking or working fine or not. Let's go to terminal, type Python SMS, the file name we given to our this project.py, hit enter. As you can see, he is asking student management system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Let's suppose we entered 1. What he will do? Just for now it is giving an error because we just call the function but not defined it. So let's go and define our add student function first, then we will do anything else. Because if we so far we just displayed the menu and these functions add student, view student or average marks are not defined. So how we'll write our add student function? So let's first use define keyword add underscore student, the name we already mentioned, and colon to tell it the is line end here. So we will ask it for name. Name is equal to input, enter your name, enter student name. So just make it spell it right. And first choice he will ask for name. So the second will be age. What is the age of the student? We will convert that age into integer. As you know, by default, Python assign the string value to every input we get. So we use typecasting and convert that to integer. So we will ask her enter age. So our next value for student record is marks. How many marks he obtained? So we use float to convert. Student can have like 25.5 or in float value marks. So we convert the string to float for marks. So we write input enter marks. So we get all the three values, name, age, marks, and stored in this variable. So now next what we will do, we will define a dictionary. We will create a dictionary object of every student and store it in our students list. So how we write a dictionary? We store by using the key value pairs. So key will be name and value will be variable name. So second our key will be age, and what will be the value? Value will be age. Comma, hit enter. So next third our key is marks, and what will be the value of marks is marks. So this where we have stored our data name, age, marks in a dictionary. Now we will have to add that dictionary to our list. So how we will do that? We will do that students dot, we use our built-in function append, and what we will append? We will append student. So he will add the student record into our list. So next we will just print a message that the student is added. So student, student, student added. And if we want to just display a blank line of spaces, we can just, to make it look nice and look it feel nice. So let's suppose we will enter print. So now let's go to terminal and see whether this functionality works or not. Python as ms.py, hit enter. So now we'll add a student 1, and he's asking for name. So let's suppose that's age is equal to 25. Marks, let's suppose we enter 50. So after student added successfully, and it goes for next iteration. So currently we haven't added view student or search or average. Just we exit our loop and let's select option 5 and it message bye bye. So our next option is we will select the view students function, which we call in our loop, but we haven't yet written in our code. So let's write our function to view the students in the list which we created earlier, and where we added the student. So how we will write that? So first of all, we check the length of student list, whether is there any students available or not. We will check. If student double equal to 0, what we will do? If there is no student available in the record, we just simple print a message. No student found. So no record is found, and we will just return and don't execute our next lines of code. So just to make it look nice, we add another print here, empty print, to print a plain line. So let's suppose, what if there is a student in a record available? So we write, let's suppose to calculate the number of students, or to show the number of student or identity, we specify I is equal to 1. Next we write a loop for student in students. It will iterate through all the list items of student dictionary. And what we will do? First of all, we will print the number. Which number of student it is currently showing. So print I will for first student it will display 1, for next student it will display 2, and so on. So first of all, we will print the name of the student. How we will print? First we will show name. We can pass multiple values to print statement to display by separating them by comma. So first is student. We will this student is a dictionary which we created by adding function, and list is the collection of dictionaries. So how we'll access that? So first of all, for name we use key value. For value of name we use key name. So our next is print. What we will print next? Age of the student. So we will just comma to separate our value. So for age, key is age. Press enter. Our next value to display is how many marks this student have. To display this, we will use another print, and here we type marks, comma to separate marks, and to pass our second value. So we type student. For marks we have our key of marks. So far it will print the first name, age, and marks as well. To just make it look nice, we will print these minus signs to just for it will works like a divider between two student values. So next what we will do? We will increment the value of I. For first student it will be 1, for next student it will be 2 and so on. As many students we have, it will by automatically increasing the number. So let's go and check whether this our view students function works or not. So go to terminal first. Let's clear. Now type Python sms.py, hit enter. Currently we do not have any student added. So first of all we have to add one student to see whether student is there or not. So let's enter student name, Faisal, age 25, marks let's suppose 50, student added. So if now select two to view students, so hit enter. It has displayed the student number and ask us for next option. It is currently we have only one student, Faisal, age, marks, and beautiful divider, and this one is showing which we printed I. So currently we have working. We can add student and view student in this portal so far. So we can now implement our next functionality, which is we can search the student by name. So we have already called that function, but we haven't defined that function. So to define that search student function, we will write search student brackets colon, hit enter. So how we will do that? To search a student, first of all we get a student name from as an input from the user, and then we check whether this name is available in our dictionary or not. If available, then we will display the record. If not available, we just say student not found. So first we will get the name of student. So what name we want to name it? So we name it variable search name is equal to input brackets. We'll just show a statement, enter name to search. So he will enter the name whatever he want to found. We just are using our boolean variable. Currently we value it false and we will value it true if we found the student. So next what we will do, we will write a for loop to iterate through all our student in students list. So students colon, hit enter. Next we check whether that student name is that name we get or not. So we write if student key of name check double equal to the search name we get from the user. If that name is equal to the key value of the student available in our list, then first we will print the message. What will be the message? Message is student found. So now as the student is found, we will just display the values or available data of that student. So first we write a print. What we will do? First we show the name colon comma separated by student name. So we will just write student comma name, or we can just copy that from above and copy paste to save our time. So we already have name. Let's go copy and paste. Control V. Just make sure to indent it right. If you don't indent it right, it will throw error. So student found, it will show name, age, marks. Next what we will do, first we print just the empty space, Control V, and next we will do, we change the value of found is equal to true as the student is found in our list. And we will just break our loop. This break will our loop and continue to our next statement. What will be our next statement? So our next statement is we check whether if found is equal to true or not. If found double equal to false, it means if check whether the loop is executed but the value is whether changed or not. If found is equal to false, then we will print the message. What will be the message? Message will be simple. Student not found. It means the entered student by the user is not available in our list, or it is entered the incorrect student name. So this our search function will just simply search our student and return the value of that student. So now, before checking this work or not, we just complete our code. Our next function, which we already call but haven't defined yet, that is to calculate the average marks of a student. So we define a function average marks, colon, hit enter. We check whether if the length of the students list is 0 or not. If that is equal to 0, we just print a message. What will be the message? Message is that no student to calculate average. It means there is no student available in our list. So if there is no student, we cannot calculate the average of the student. So we will just simple print for spaces and return to just end our function here. It doesn't need to execute next lines as there is no student available. So if there is a student available, then we will say total variable is used to add all the total marks of each student. So to get all the marks of the student, we write a for loop for student in students colon hit enter total. Total is equal to total. We just spell it right, otherwise it will throw error. Total plus total is equal to student, whatever student it is in the loop currently at, and we just what we want to get marks. We will specify the key value of marks, and it will give us the value of that student marks. So after that, now we have the total number of marks of all the students. So next what we will do, we will calculate the average. We can just simply calculate average by total divided by length of students. It means how many students are available. It is simple. Total divided by length, that will give us the average. So if now we have calculated the average, but we want to show the average. So average will marks, we will just use the print to display average and separate two values by comma and hit enter and print just for empty space. So we have completed our code. So now let's go and test whether search student and average marks works or not. So first of all, we just clear the screen for better output or better look. And run our code Python sms.py. As currently we do not have any student. Whenever as we just creating, we are not using database or different files to store our values. So whenever we run the code, the values will be removed. In the next lecture, we will use and understand file handling, and we will store that values to a file. So we don't need to, the code will be kept safe. So first we will add two students. So let's suppose student 1 is equal to Faisal and age is equal to 20, marks is equal to suppose 60. Student added successfully. Let's add one more student. Student name is equal to John, age is equal to 40, and marks is equal to, let's suppose, 70. So we have now added two students. Let's view whether these both two students are added in our record or not. So we choose the second option. First is 1 Faisal, second is equal to John. So we have two students in our record. So let's suppose we want to search or get a value of a student John. So what we will select option 3, enter name to search. So we will enter the name of Jon, enter. So it will return student found, name John, age 40, marks 70. So it will return the record of the student John. So our three functionalities, add student, view student, search, are working fine. So let's suppose we want to get the average marks of both students. We select option 4, hit enter. what it returns? It returns average marks 65.0. So average of 70 and 60 is 65. So far our four functions are working fine. Let's suppose it selects incorrect option. What he will do? Let's suppose it selects 8. We hit enter. Wrong choice. Our loop will keep iterating and keep asking him to enter the correct value. So to enter 5, the last message will be displayed bye and our code will be exit. So congratulations, we have done a mini project in Python. In this project, we have implemented the basic rules or all the topics we discussed in this chapter, like what are list variables, how to get input, what is typecasting, how to change value from string to integer or float, how to write functions, and how loops works. We implemented if statement, for loop, and we also use different built-in functions like to calculate length of a list. We use ln function, and we implemented the menu by using the while loop. So this is a many project. If you didn't like, or if you want to make more interesting, you can add more possibilities and functionalities to this to work or to enhance your skills. So far for this lecture. See you in the next video where we will discuss oops and file handling and error handling and more advanced topics.
So far in this Python Masterclass, we have discussed what are variables, loops, conditional statement, operators, and strings, how to use built-in modules on strings. And we have built a mini student management portal. In the next video, we will discuss OOP concept and other modern concepts used in Python. If you feel any problem while solving the challenges, comment below in this video or join the community I mentioned in the description, the Facebook group of the community. You can join where I help students to solve the problems and learn with me. See you in next video.